Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous friends. Okay, so this Thursday, May 23rd, we have two big things happening. One, we have a full moon. Obviously, full moons happen every month, but this full moon is connected with something incredible, one of the best signatures of the year, honestly. And I'm going to explain to you what is going on in the full moon, what this extra piece of astrology is and what that means. And then I'll kind of go through each house and what if that it could mean for you individually. So again, there's kind of three sections to this, and let's get into it. So the full moon is happening in Sagittarius this Thursday, May 23rd. And Sagittarius is like such a fun zodiac sign. Sagittarius is all about learning and having experiences, whether that's through travel, whether that's through knowledge and studying. They're really into philosophy, religion, spirituality. Again, anything that helps them learn. Travel, adventure. They're really confident. They have bold energy. It's a fire sign, so it's very energetic and action oriented. They're usually also very confident, fire sign, and optimistic. And they're very extroverted and charismatic and fun and friendly. And so Sagittarius is just such a vivacious zodiac sign. It has a lot going on, confidence, optimism, and it's always on the seek for higher knowledge. It's also the zodiac sign of astrology, of information from the cosmos, philosophy, religion, spirituality. So any type of higher learning, hiring your consciousness. Also any type of learning on this earth, on this plane, with travel and adventure, with reading books, with going to school, with studying, with having conversations with people. That's kind of their outgoing, extroverted nature. So no matter whether you have Sagittarius like as one of your main astrological placements or not, this full moon is happening in Sagittarius for everybody. So it's going to affect everybody in a Sagittarius way. If you don't know, full moons are all about letting go. I really wouldn't suggest doing any sort of ritual or ceremony for this. I wouldn't say to do any manifestations. Manifestations are new moons. We call in what we want during a new moon. During a full moon, we let go, we shed, we get ready for a new cycle. And so also, of course, there's always information about like auspicious activity happening during a full moon. I don't know about you, but during a lot of different full moons, I have a hard time sleeping. I feel like my energy is vibrating. Like there's legitimately more police on the police force assigned to nights and days that are full moon, because it's just a weird energy. It's if you have psychic or medium abilities, which I genuinely think everybody does, just whether or not you're tapped in to them, letting them flow. But anyways, if you're connected to your psychic or medium intuitive abilities, then you're seeing more things, usually more energy is out and about. So there's a lot happening on a full moon, but specifically what we're going to focus on is that full moons are meant for letting go. And so we want to let go of something having to do with the Sagittarius theme, since the full moon's in Sagittarius. And that doesn't mean we have to let go of being extroverted and fun and traveling and learning and spirituality and all of these things. Doesn't mean that we have to specifically let go of that. It means that we have to let go of something to do with those themes. So maybe you have blocks around being confident. Maybe you have blocks around travel. You have fears around it. Maybe you have blocks around creating the time to learn. You really crave higher learning and spirituality or religion or philosophy, and you have blocks around creating the time. So we could be letting go of these blocks. And so I would look into these themes for you. Anything to do with optimism, confidence, higher learning, studying, traveling, adventure, being fun and friendly, outgoing. It's really more just around like learning. Because even experiences, even going out and spending time with people is learning. Our souls incarnate on the human plane to grow our consciousness. And the way we do that is through experiences. We come here to have a bunch of experiences to learn, to higher our consciousness, and also philosophy, religion, spirituality, astrology, all of these things, studying books, reading books, that kind of stuff, having conversations with people, all of those things higher our learning, higher our experiences, or we have more experiences, we learn more. So my point is that look at those themes and see if there's anything that you are being called to let go of right now, to move past, to move on with. Or maybe it's that you have been stressing yourself out so much about doing these things that you're just overwhelmed. And so maybe you need to let go of, focusing so much on this. And something that you can do if you want during a new moon is you can write down the things you want to let go of. And then in a beautiful, thank you, sending love and gratitude to it, you can burn the piece of paper. And that's kind of a representation of letting go. Again, I wouldn't suggest doing too much more of a ritual than that. Just because, again, full moons have really auspicious and wild energy. And they're all kind of a little unknown. But so that is that piece of astrology. Also, the thing that is supercharging this full moon and is supercharging and assisting us for whatever we need to let go of in this part of our lives, and whatever we can just say no longer serves us and shed and shake off, is Venus and Jupiter are going to be conjunct in Taurus. So what that means, when two planets become conjunct, it means they merge. It means that they become they help each other theme-wise, and then they superpower each other. So, and they're both in Taurus. And so Venus, the planet of love and art and creativity and beauty, is merging with Jupiter, the planet of abundance and miracles and gifts from the universe. How incredible. Also, I always just love to shout out to Jupiter, because if you think about it, the planet of abundance and miracles is also the planet of connecting to the universe. And what a beautiful thing to sit with, that the same planet of connecting to the universe is the planet of abundance and miracles. And it's the universe really wants to give us abundance and miracles if we open ourselves to it, if we allow it. Surrender the control, surrender to it. But anyways, so these are my two favorite planets. All the planets are amazing, but Venus, the planet of love, art, beauty, and creativity, and Jupiter, the planet of abundance and miracles and gifts from the universe and connecting with the universe, are coming together. Poof, incredible. Also, Jupiter just left its highest, most energized state a couple days ago, so it's still supercharged. And then Venus is in its home zodiac sign, which means it's supercharged. So the two best planets are supercharged, and they're coming together to supercharge each other and to work together. And so they're also in the sign Taurus. And so Taurus is the sign of the earth, of pleasure, of food production and material and financial safety. So it's it's very much I love to think of Taurus as almost one of the zodiac signs that really represents the human plane. All earth signs is an earth sign, so it's stabilizing, grounding, brings you into the earth, does this. But Taurus is this happy-go-lucky, easygoing, chill, happy, pleasureful, joyous, playful earth sign. So it's these beautiful qualities about being human, about being grounded and feeling safe and stable in our material world, whether that's finances, material, food, anything. So that is Taurus. And so what that means is that there is love. This day of the full moon, Thursday, May 23rd, is not only are we going to be learning about something of this Sagittarius beautiful sign of higher learning and travel and experiences and knowledge, but it's also going to have these themes of love and art and beauty and miracles and abundance and gifts from the universe and pleasure and being human and the earthly realm and safety and security. And so all of these things are working together to give us some sort of lesson on Thursday. And just a reminder about astrology is that there's nothing that you need to do with it. There's nothing that now this is like add a million things to your to-do list. No need. It will naturally happen to you. The universe is literally aligning these stars so that these things happen for you. But if you do want to work with them, it would be beautiful to think about and journal about, meditate on, just like feel into for a moment about what you would like to call in about love and beauty and art and abundance, and like being abundant in love and beauty and art, and calling in, connecting with the universe and love, and in a way that really grounds you and makes you feel safe and stable and allows you to be pleasureful and enjoy this human existence. So that is how you can work with our Venus conjunct Jupiter in Taurus. And then also looking at, and maybe it has to do with these themes, what are you ready to let go of? So that you can maybe step more into your confidence, into your adventure, into understanding how intelligent and how many experiences and knowledge you've gained, or celebrating those, or maybe you have a block about going out and getting those, or maybe you've been working too hard for that and you need to rest and to celebrate those things and just like shed what no longer serves you. So that is the incredible astrology that's happening Thursday, May 23rd. I am always super jazzed about a full moon and a new moon. They're both just really fun things that happen every 2 weeks. We have our full moon 2 weeks later, a new moon, full moon 2 weeks later, new moon 2 weeks later. And so it's just these really beautiful cycles that we naturally go through, that the stars and the universe are taking us through. And so it's really fun to kind of keep an eye on what's happening. And you can also stay tuned here. I'll tell you what's happening as well. But now that is the astrology. If you want to dive a little bit deeper, what you can do to figure out where this is even more specifically affecting you is to understand what house Sagittarius and Taurus were in when you were born. So you can look up your birth chart and it'll be a number 1 through 12. You can see what house was Taurus in when I was born. What house was Sagittarius in when I was born? And I will go over the houses now and kind of give you a quick rundown of what each one means. So then that way, if you want to go ahead and look it up and Google your birth chart, which you'll need your place of birth, time of birth, like exact time of birth, and your birth date. If you want to look that up and figure out what numbers Taurus is in, what number Sagittarius in, you can then use this information I'm about to give to further understand what will be happening for you in and around Thursday, May 23rd. And for those of you who don't know your birth time, very common. There are ways to figure that out. It's usually something you need to sit down and do with somebody who understands astrology. And so if that's something that you are looking for, you can totally reach out to me. We can book an astrology reading and we can go through, figure out what birth time you were born, and from that, do like a whole birth chart reading as well as part of the birth chart reading. So yeah, I offer the birth chart readings. Then I also offer like a now reading based on, I will look at your birth chart and I'll look at the stars now and I'll tell you what's going to be happening for you now, maybe a couple months ago, and then like the next year or so, depending on like what transits are really big. Maybe I'll even go into like 2 or 3 years. But that is if you need help understanding your birth chart or what is happening for you now. But this is a little tidbit about this one specific day, May 23rd. So let's go into talking about the houses. So there's 12 houses, right? We've got 1 through 12. So I'm going to go into talking to you about each house and give you a little tidbit. So the first house is all about the self. If you ever heard the term rising, ascendant, it's one of your main 3 zodiacs in your chart, in your birth chart. You have your sun sign, your rising sign, and your moon sign. Those are like your main 3 astrology. And the rising sign is the same thing as saying the first house. The ascendant is the same thing as saying the first house. And why the first house is so important is because it is the self. It is like you to the core. It is who you show yourself as to the outside world. And it can also be the physical body. So the first house, if something's happening for you in the first house, if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the first house, then those things that are happening astrologically are going to be very personal for you. They are going to like kind of generally encompass your whole self and personality in life. So that's the first house. The second house is all about money, assets, resources, material realm, material safety. So if something's happening for you, if Taurus or Sagittarius in the second house for you, it's going to be drawing attention to finances, material, safety. And you can notice that the second house has similar themes as what I talked about with Taurus and what's happening in Taurus. And that's because Taurus and the second house go together. So they have similar themes. The third house, if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the third house is calling attention to communication, the way you communicate with yourself, with other people, writing. It's also about your daily routine. It's also like playful, childlike energy. So those themes could be another layer to this astrology if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the third house. The fourth house is a lot about family. It can also have something to do with emotions, but it's more about like your ancestral roots, your family, like your deep values, maybe ancestral trauma even. And so if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the fourth house, that's what it's calling attention to. So the fifth house is all about creativity, self-expression, sex, intimacy, romance, play. It's also about children. It can be like your inner child, childlike self, calling it in your inner child and playing actual children in your life. And so those will be the themes of the fifth house if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the fifth house. The sixth house is all about work, health, daily routine. And when I say work, it's like your 9 to 5. It's like, what are you doing to make money? Maybe it's not necessarily your life purpose, but it's your work. So work, physical health, daily routine. So if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the sixth house, those are the themes. The seventh house is about your committed partnerships. It's like the people that are closest to you, your intimate partnership, your romantic partnership, your best friend, the people that feel like your sister, maybe your actual sister and family, your business partner. So it'll be calling attention to your committed partnerships, and also it can do with like the balance in your partnerships, the balance within yourself. If you feel internally balanced, your partnership with yourself. It's more about external partnerships, but always something to note. And so if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the seventh house, those are the themes. The eighth house is all about, it's a lot of things. It is also sex and intimacy. It is also shared resources. It's like the things that you share with other people, which could be loans, debts. It could also be like savings. The eighth house is also the house of mental health, of grief, loss, death. And it can be actual death, or it can be like your transformation. Like my old self is dying and my new self is like rising strong. And so the eighth house is kind of a complex house. But if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the eighth house, those themes could have become part of this astrology for you. The ninth house is also the house that rules Sagittarius. So again, I'm going to repeat similar themes as I said earlier. The ninth house is about experiences, higher learning, spirituality, philosophy, adventure, travel, God, the universe, whatever higher experiences and higher learning means to you. Excuse me, something in my eye. And so if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the ninth house, that's what it'll be calling attention to. The 10th house is all about your vocation, this could be more about your life purpose. It could be your public image, your public roles, the way that the world sees you, what you want to give to the world, what you want to put out into the world. So your 10th house, that's the 10th house if you've got Taurus or Sagittarius there. The 11th house is a house of It's also a house to do with like other people, but it's a little bit wider of a scope. It's like your community, your society. It could also be about social justice, social change that you want to see in the world. It can be about intelligence. And so that can also be some themes of the 11th house. And then the 12th house, last but not least, is another complex house. I mean, they're all a little complex, but the 12th house is like solitude, isolation. It's like when you need to go into your incubator and recharge. If you have a lot of planets and points in the 12th house, you might find yourself literally needing to be alone a lot to recharge. You might find yourself being an introvert. And so the 12th house also has to do with like your deepest wound in life, which a lot of people haven't necessarily discovered that in life yet. But if you do know what your deepest wound is, the 12th house can call attention to it. And what happens with like your deepest wound in life is that when you sit with it and you give it attention and presence and you just feel it, it turns into healing it. There's nothing to do. It's just be with it, feel it, understand it, look at it, and it kind of transmutes into healing. And then once you've done that, you can help anybody else heal and guide them through the healing of a similar wound. So that like deepest wound kind of turns into like healer energy. And so again, the 12th house is complicated. So it has all the isolation, needing to recharge introvert energy, and then it has your deepest wound and a healer, which is kind of can go together, but also a little different. It also can deal with self-sabotage. It can also be like the deepest realms of the soul. And so the 12th house, if you have Taurus or Sagittarius in the 12th house, those will be some themes that it might speak to as well. And so everybody has all 12 houses, all the complicated ones and the more chill ones. And it's just helpful to look at your chart to understand if this astrology, Thursday, May 23rd, is affecting you even more based on what theme Taurus and Sagittarius are calling to, based on like just looking at what houses they are. And then you can reference the themes I spoke to. So yeah, that is it. If you have any questions, concerns, you need some help, place something in the comment below, reach out if you're interested in a reading, if you want to know more about your own chart or what's happening for you right now. Besides that, I send lots of love and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful full moon.